Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Good evening.
How's everybody tonight?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm well. I'm just a little hot. My air conditioner is not working properly, but other than that, I'm good.
Oh, no, that is not a good thing to be happening this time of the year.
Oh, no. You know what? My birthday is this month, so what's the sad part is I would want some of this heat, but by the time my birthday comes, it usually is windy and cold and rainy.
Oh, when's your birthday?
On the 23rd. It looked like just before that, it just get cold, windy, and rainy. I was like, oh, it's freezing outside.
Yeah, I've seen drastic temperature changes like that, especially up north. I went to Chicago one year and from Texas, and it was extremely cold.
Oh, yes.
The last part of September, early October.
Right, and then October get to be hot around Halloween. That's crazy. We go outside with no coats on and stuff. I'm like, wow, it go from one extreme to another.
We won't be putting on coats down here to around late December, January.
That's the good part. That's why I used to like to go visit my grandmother in Florida. I enjoy some of that Florida heat. In the wintertime, you only have to put on the sweater.
Right. Brother Hamp, you on tonight?
Yes, sir.
All right, you already in. Oh, okay. It's 8:31. Who's bringing the heat tonight?
It will be Angela tonight.
Angela tonight. All right, good deal. And all right, Angela, I don't know if I let you know, but I did receive your dues. I'm still trying to set up a different profile on the Cash App, but every time I tried to do it, it just kept reverting back to me. So I'm gonna see if I can just set up one under the CCC and go from there. Just log in through another app or do something. But without any further ado, Hamp, I'll let you do what you do and introduce our guest tonight. And once I do that, I'm going to mute. But I want to ask, I don't know, like I said, I was talking to the members earlier. I spoke with a lady in Arkansas as we were checking out of our hotel on Monday. And she brought some very interesting health points to me, and I gave her the Grown Folk Talk number and website, and I told her she dial that number, she could get a lineup of the shows, and told her there were people on the network that were knowledgeable in the subject that she seems to be a semi-expert in, with the herbals and all the different health things that can keep you off conventional medications. So, and I think I didn't really introduce myself to her, but I know her name tag had Maud on it, and she was a very friendly person. We had a good conversation, and I don't know if she tuned in, but if you're on the air, please speak up. I'm going to let you have part of the show tonight if you're on. But otherwise, Hamp, go ahead and introduce Miss Angela and the topic that she's going to bring up tonight. And if anyone being in, they can't hear me, but please introduce yourself.
We ain't going to hold anybody in suspense any longer, because I'm waiting to hear what the topic is myself. So without further ado, Miss Charles, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. As most of you know, I try to come with current and relevant topics. So tonight, the question is, and I'll give some background after this. The question is it cultural appropriation to use AAVE, and I'll give a definition of what that is, And are you offended when people outside of our culture use that language? AAVE stands for African American Vernacular English. Some of us may know it as Ebonics. As they do everything else, they change the names of everything that from generation to generation. And AAVE has been a big source of contention because it has become so popular with other cultures using the language, using the slang, using the gestures on social media or what have you. So with that understanding of what it is considered a dialect now and a language that has been supported by many different studies. So do you find that it is cultural appropriation when someone outside of our culture use AAVE?
Well, I guess I'll start off because I'm not familiar with all the letters, but I'll just say this. Some words that are being used are more words that we greet each other with, but when a person of non-color uses this word, it's offensive. And I know that may sound sad or what have you, but it is what it is. Everybody can't say what you say the way you say it and still have the same meaning behind it.
I agree, and I know the word that you're speaking of, but it's a lot more than that word, like babe and woke and lit and shade and all those terms that have become basically a subculture of society that they use, and, you know, they make it their own and use it in such a way that they act like our culture, quote unquote. I don't have a problem. I don't really think it's cultural appropriation as much as it is cultural appreciation, because they want to be so much like us. But when it is done, if this is something that, if you have been around other cultures as I have all my life, you know, I've never just been in one particular culture. I'm multicultural personally, but I've always had friends of different cultures and different nationalities. And so if my friends who were around me all the time, and you would hear the words that I'm saying, and then you naturally pick up on those words and those meanings, and you use them, I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem when it becomes appropriation and not appreciation, and people actually use the terms to, quote unquote, talk down to our culture, to talk down on our level, because that's the way you think you can convey your message better. They had one gentleman that says that he actually talked in the AAVE language slower so that our culture can understand what he's saying, because when he's in that particular audience, as opposed to just regularly speaking. That I have a problem with, because we're not slow. And just because I say finna I'm finna go to the store does not mean I don't know what to speak and how to speak correctly or they're correct.
I agree. This is Adrian. You know, I when I was growing up, people used to curse at people in Spanish using certain words and not realizing. I don't know what they're not realizing. I'm not going to try to guess what's in their head, but when that culture sometimes use those particular words, they don't mean the same thing. And people have to realize you can say, refer to a certain word when you refer to certain people or certain things. And in your language, in your culture, it may mean one thing, but I'm saying it, and I don't know how to use that properly, so it turns into an insult when I'm doing it. And I don't think people should do that. Speak your language. If you don't understand totally what things mean, don't repeat it, because you don't know what you're repeating.
Right.
Well, the problem with that is when you're speaking something, you know what you mean. You don't have to know what it originally was supposed to be or what it is to other people, but you know what you mean by it. And you know, like you said, you're adapting to the people around you and saying what they're saying. So something might be offensive, but one of the things is we really don't know what somebody else means by what they're saying. So to me, in a sense, it's kind of a waste of time. I would be offended if I felt like somebody was talking down to me. But if people want to fit in and they want to mesh in and they're growing together and we come in from all different areas, we need some central ground. And it may be our language is just, that language, the way we talk, the way we respond and react. People think that it's cool and they want to be a part of that. So they will adapt. And if they're coming from a different, like you said, these are your peers and your friends, multicultural. When the kids go to school, they're learning all of this. So they have to find some neutral territory or some neutral ground. But I do understand that people will be offended by certain words because I had to be a go-between with people from different cultures. For instance, when the people from Jamaica would say, "You beg a ride," and then someone from here would say, "I don't beg for nothing." That's offensive when you say beg. But to them, in their culture, beg means to ask. You know what I'm saying? But by the time anyone takes the time to figure anything out, it's an all-out brawl out. It's a real fallout. And it's kind of silly. I mean, so to me, I think we need to slow it down a little bit with the attitude, you know what I'm saying, and try to get more understanding before we jump to a conclusion. And as far as that N-word goes, my mother said it doesn't matter what color you are, you can always be that. It's a way, it's an attitude, a way of acting. So any word that anybody uses to describe us as Afro-American people or whatever they want to call us, you can use the same particular word on everybody. It's just, it goes across the board. Maybe they've used it in the past to downgrade us and stuff like that, but it has a definition to it, and it doesn't necessarily mean a color, I think. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that sometimes we have to go back to that mentality that, when we was little, our mothers tried to prepare us for all the negativity and things that were said, and they said, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt." Although we affected by it, we have to get a tough skin and let it roll off our back. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like more than anything, they appreciate what we bring to the table. Our dance, our body language, our talk, even the way we carry ourselves, the dress, the hair, everything. We should know that we are looked upon highly, even if there are some that dislike us because of who we are, so I would not get too deep into that, And what somebody calls a friend or someone around them, they may be playing around, like you said in Spanish, and they call you the B word or whatever. Girls they teasing around and playing. Yes, they can do that because they're friends with each other, so they may feel like it's okay. Not me personally, but I'm just saying that's their own personal thing that they do. So now if somebody just came up and start saying that to one of them, then I would say, that's not cool. You know what I'm saying? Let them know that now you're going too far. This is like a personal thing. Because what you do with your friends and family on a personal level, that's personal. And we all have things that we do with our friends and family that wouldn't be okay for an outsider. Like if somebody calls me Debbie instead of Deborah or Deborah or something like that, I'll look at them like, well, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like we all have things like that that's just personal to us and those that's close to us. But then we have those things that I feel like it's just that Ebonic speaking or this type of language. I think it's okay for them to use it.
Well, I'm gonna in response to that. This is Adrian again. I'm not gonna agree because if you're not part of that culture and you're on the outside listening in and you don't totally understand what it means, don't stay out of it, because that's when people get offended because you might be using that slang word wrong, and the slang word might be an insult to other people. Like I read this book called Kefir Boy, and in Africa they don't use the N-word like we do. Kefir is that word that, because you hear other people calling people that, Kefir boy, come here, and somebody might punch you out because you're trying to fit into a culture that you're not familiar with. And that's my only point. Be familiar with the culture and what it means instead of trying to be cool and try to fit in. I'm going to speak like them. If you have no idea what the true meaning of the words are, you can be offensive, you can be insulting, and it can cause you to get hurt. That's my only point. I'm not saying nobody else should use it.
But what I'm saying is when you don't know the circle that person that's using that word travel in, and that may be something that they use within that circle. And like she said, multicultural, they're going to pick up words from each other. So you looking on the outside because you heard a word, you don't know where it stems from with that person, and they know what it means to them in their circle. And I said that I can understand other people being offended by it, but I think that we should step back a little bit. And I think that if it is a friend that they're saying something that may not be so appropriate to others, then that's for their friends to inform them, like, okay, we joke around and play like this, but when you're not around us and it's not us or we're around other people, then that won't be appropriate because, they may be offended because they don't understand what we mean by it. But I think that we are too quick to get an attitude about some things like that and take some type of negative behavior when we shouldn't. We all have to grow and mature.
I'm pretty much agreeing with what you're saying.
Yeah. The problem that I feel that we have found lately is the things that we had in our homes, the conversations that we had amongst our family members are now on social media. And so words and conversations that once were not heard outside of the family is now part of mainstream, what they consider mainstream America, because you may have this person, you may have someone watching TikTok or YouTube, and they feel, oh, it's cool to say this, or it's cool to act like this, or it's cool to flip my hair and put some gold teeth in my mouth and do this, and then everybody's gonna like me. And so that's what I call, it's appreciation to a point. Like, they appreciate our culture. Like you said, they appreciate the things that we have, what we bring to the table. But at some point, it becomes appropriation because they just take it to another level.
Right.
They just take it to a point that is too far. And so that's where, I mean, like, social media has taken over so much of our lives at this point. And there are no secrets. They're no longer secrets. They're no longer just conversations and curt words that you would say that your grandmother would tell you that you wouldn't dare talk to nobody else about. But because that's your grandma and that's your family, and then she said that, and, you know, it's okay to speak that within your family. But now everybody is just saying it like they understand the culture behind it, and that's the main thing about it.
Right.
That language is culturally based. That comes from, a lot of that language I have found has come from like some of our Creole language. Some of it's West Indian Creole. Some of it is, you know, Louisiana Creole. Like, those words are they mean something to us. And shortening those terms and, you know, relaying that particular message in that particular way. Some of that came from slavery when they couldn't understand other things. They made words that only they could understand. And so now it's being brought to the mainstream media, and they think it's, you know, just slang, when it's not necessarily slang. It's our culture. It's who we are to our core, you know. And so that's why I'm like, you know, I don't like it used all the time. I don't like the girls coming on there trying to sell something on TikTok or what have you, and the whole time they snapping their fingers and doing all these different things and quote unquote acting black or acting
attitude.
Yeah, like, oh, that's, you know, girl, you know, like, don't do that. Don't do that, because that's not cute. But that's all what I consider appropriation and not necessarily appreciation of our culture, because there is both.
Yeah. I'm not certain if this. I'm sorry, this is a Yanni. I'm not certain if anybody said this or not, but for me, it depends on the situation. I have been around people who are completely genuine. When they say things, it's not, you know, they're not trying to be cute, they're not trying to be fly, not trying to be sassy. It's just them. It's just their personality. And then I've been around those that have tried to force it. And, you know, once you give them the side eye a couple of times, they kind of get the idea, okay, you know, this is not working. So let me just go back to dealing with this person on the same level with the same energy that they're giving me. So that's the way I feel about it. Now, as far as the word that you guys were talking about before, most of the time it doesn't bother me. I've used it. I'm sorry. Y'all just have to tap me on the head later or whatever. But I've used it. I don't do it vindictively, you know, or anything like that. I think like Brother Hamp said, you know, maybe when you meet somebody, you know, something like that. But it doesn't bother me unless it is specifically intended to demean somebody or to hurt somebody. Then I have a problem with it. But, you know, that's just me.
And we do have to be cautious because certain words are triggers, and people expect them to be a trigger for us, so they use them on us. And for instance, one time it was said to me, I was called out of my name as I was younger and by an older woman. And I just said, when you address me, put a title on it. And say Miss, Mrs., or Mega B if you're going to say it. And she was really surprised because that was supposed to trigger me to act crazy or something. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, when you addressing me, you're going to put a title on it, Miss, Mega, Mrs., something like that. And that really rubbed her the wrong way, you know. So I think that we got to be careful with what we let people see, as far as these words that's being used, especially if they are triggers, because they intentionally use these words, so we have to be intentional about not letting it penetrate and finding a way to, keep ourselves from getting into those situations that we don't want to be in.
Very true.
I had a friend that was her normal language, and she would always refer to every female as a bee. And even when she's talking about her friends, her relatives, and, my aunt did so-and-so, and this bee so-and-so and so-and-so, and she would always use that word. And I had to tell her, I'm just speaking for me. I'm not speaking for the whole world. I said, please don't address me like that, because I take it literally, because I know what that word means, and it's not complimentary, and I'm about uplifting myself and other people, so if you can avoid from referring to me like that, because she used to greet me like that. Hey, B, what you doing? I was like, who you talking to? I'm not mad, but I'm just said as a corrective measure. Who are you talking to? Oh, I forgot. You don't like being called that. I say, yeah, no, I don't like being called that. And I don't feel like I was being overly sensitive. I was just, and this was like 10, maybe 15. I was in my 20s then, years ago. And it got to the point that she stopped doing it. And other people wouldn't do it. And it just was my attitude about that particular word. Now, you can, refer to me by the N-word or something like that, and it didn't bother me. But that bothered me, and I just let her know. I don't care what you call everybody else, but please don't address me like that. So that's just a matter of, I guess, a matter
respecting
of
the person.
And I didn't want to be called that.
Right.
So I guess the bottom line of what I'm saying, it's an individual. It's an individual thing. Some people don't mind it. Some people do. But my thing is, if somebody tells me they're offended when I refer to them as so-and-so, I tend to respect it and try not to refer to them like that.
I do think it's an individual thing, but at the same time, I think you got to realize these things are triggers too. So we just stay in a safe place with all of that, being said, and people don't accepted it. So these people think it's all right. So if it is offensive to you, you should always say that it's offensive to you. If somebody's just using words loosely, and you let them know that that's something that you don't like. But we do have to. I feel like everything that we've learned and we have, it came from somewhere. So it's all compiled together, right? So it's all compiled together, and so it's just like saying, and in one sense, that we can't wear the same style of clothes if we like them, if we see what you wearing, for instance, with those boots, everybody was talking about the terms. We wasn't supposed to wear them. What we do, we the top purchasers of those boots. We made them rich with that. Because we was going to make a statement. Can nobody tell me what I can wear? If you put it out there, then I can use it. So if that's the statement with those Timberlands or whatever, that's the statement across the board. That was just one example. Whatever we put out there, and if people like it, they're going to use it.
I thought I heard a male voice trying to come in and make a comment.
Yeah, my shit echoing.
Go ahead, it's open.
Yeah. Yes. I agree.
You're echoing.
No shit.
Bro, you're live.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
you keep cussing on the line.
Well, hey, shoot. Y'all want to hear about shit or not?
Okay.
I agree with the statement, is what I was saying. We got to be mindful of what we say, because people will get offended by these nomenclatures and certain sayings and everything that we say. It might not be offensive to some folks, but you don't know how people take things.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody say something to me, it might not affect somebody else, but I hold it differently. I can't stand to be called son. You're not my father. I'm not your boy. Watch your mouth. Or I'm going to tell you about yourself, then you're going to be feeling some type of way every time you come around me. So we got to watch how we say things to people. We're all grown here. Everybody's, you know what I'm saying, decent, functioning adults. So you watch how you conduct yourself around individuals, or just don't say nothing at all if you can't conduct yourself properly, handling some type of business.
But me and my buddy, we used to always laugh. And this, I guess, you can say this relates to Ebonics, but you got cats in New York City, man, and they always, hey, what's up, son? What's up, son? And it wouldn't be in a derogatory way. And
right.
Me and my buddy, we laugh about it because we met a lot of cats. I met a lot of, somebody got a lot of background noise going on. Please mute that phone or do something. There's a bunch of crap back there. All right. But anyway, that's their way, like, I don't know, I say, me and my buddies at home, hey, what's up, boy? My boy, we do that a lot. But, I can understand where if somebody else, I'll just say, oh, good old boy, come up to you and he say, it's like a little prank going on the internet, dude, man, he going to get whooped. Hey, boy, you want to hand me that stuff there, boy? Now, when you say it like that, that's derogatory, especially to a person of color who had to go through that way back in the day where every black man, whether you were 8 to 80, you was a boy. And they can say it in a way that's really degrading. It's terrible. But I listened to the intro of the show, and I know you gave Ebonics a fancy name. And I was totally against it because it was like that you want to take the language that we learned, even though it's a European language, or English, however you want to say it. And I wonder how anybody speak anything else because this is all we know. But Angela mentioned terms like lit and throwing shade or whatever. A lot of different slang terms. And I look at, I grew up, I went to school back in the 70s, and I took a voice and diction class where you were taught to pronounce your INGs, your T's at the end, and things like that. And I get away from that. But like I say, when I go on the air Friday night, I turn into a different guy. And I see now on TV, you don't have to speak properly, if there is such a term, to even be guys are getting paid millions of dollars for just speaking their mind, and they just destroy it. They're not grammatically correct at all. I'll put it like that. The way we were taught English class, we do speak English, so I guess if you want to speak it properly, you speak it. But then Ebonics, that made me think you're not even teaching a person to be literate. I don't know too many grown men that can't read now, but I've heard, know a few that still struggle. Like Floyd Mayweather, he has millions of dollars. And I said, how could this guy grow up in the era that he did and not be able to read? And you have kids now that can't read, in high school can't read on the third grade level. And that kind of bothers me because I learned how to read when I was 5 years old. Because of the kindergarten that I went to, it was instilled into us, and I would say, I won't say beat into us, but when we clowned, we got bent over to piano school. You had a yard stick.
Oh my God!
And if you call home and tell you I beat his butt, and you're gonna get another one at home. But I think language to me is important. And like I say, offensive words. I worked with a group of Hispanics on the railroad back in the 80s. We were in the truck going from one site to the next one. And one guy, he just said, something effing mayate. And I knew a little bit of Spanish. I never heard that word before in my life. But the way he said it, I knew what he called me. And I told him, I said, look, I know what you call me. I don't ever want to hear that word come out of your mouth again. Or we're going to have to fight. But mayate is the N word in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's my 2 cents word. For now.
Great seeing his pick.
Yeah, you're absolutely right because, and I agree that it's a cultural thing, and I don't think people are being overly sensitive, but I believe, like you, in the English language, regardless of where it came from. And I've been accused, why you talk like a white person? I don't talk like a white person. I talk like an educated black person. And I've had to defend that often. And it bothers me that, these are other people of my race and of my culture that says it not as a compliment, as a criticism. Why do you speak like that? I said, because I'm intelligent. If you're going to ask me the question, I'm going to give you an answer. And yes, I know how. I tell people I'm multicultural. I speak several languages. I speak proper English, I speak Ebonics, and I speak Black English. I speak and understand all 3 of those. But and I wasn't in agreement when they tried to make Black English a formal language. I was totally against that. But I appreciate that our culture, and any culture, if you're Spanish, that you can speak more than one language. If you're British, you speak a totally different English than we do. But I appreciate the difference. But I don't like when they take the difference and make it sound like, this person is ignorant because they don't know the proper way to speak English. But that's just my personal opinion.
If I could just join in this conversation, I came in a little bit late, but I hear we're talking about Ebonics and language, and like you, Adrian, working in the public sector, I would have people come and look at me and say, "Oh, I thought you were white. You sounded white on the phone."
Yep, that's what they tell me.
I'm like, so because I spoke proper English to you? And so, and I have a problem with slang becoming acceptable language because to me it's demeaning. And it's just like when we went from conversing to conversating. Conversate was never.
It's not a word.
Converse is the word, and we have conversations when we converse. And it just became amazing to me how now conversate is a word. And it's just, I think it's ridiculous, and I think it's I think it's debilitating as a people, and it's degrading. And when bootylicious becomes a vocabulary word in the dictionary,
it's very
Come on. You know?
That's going too far, yeah.
You know, it's kind of ridiculous. And we all had slang growing up. You know, when you get to be a teenager, you all had, you know, we used to say check it out, and we used to say slick, and we even had buttons made up, you know. And, of course, we said no for yes. Or yes for no, however that went. But it's, you know, just like the young people now, you know, say that's sick. You know, if they like something, that's sick. But that's their slang. And it's not to be made vocabulary. It's their slang. And it's every generation has their little slang that they use, and then they grow out of it. So ultimately, we need to use the proper English. And yeah, and now we see where it's acceptable for text kind of jargon. People are using text jargon in their
language, right?
when they're writing a memo, or, you know, writing something like what? I don't understand that. It's crazy.
She said crazy.
I said it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
I have a friend. Well, I'm gonna say had because I haven't spoken to her in about 20 years. But she came to me one day and she was offended because she went to school for nursing. She got her master's, and she was a good nurse as far as I knew. But she said she came to me because she was offended. She said because one of her counselors in college told her that she won't go far in this field or any other field until she learns how to speak English. And she said, and I'll be speaking English very good, you know, because she said, I'm finna go to the store, anybody wants something. You know, that's not English. And she just went off on me. I said, did she go off on you or she was just trying to correct you? She said, well, I took it as her going off on me. She said, that's not, finna is not a word. And you need to learn how to speak English or you'll never go anywhere in life. I don't care how many degrees you get. And I said, well, I know you came to me for me to, you know, get on your side and say, you know, oh, that was rude. I said, but she's right. Because once you leave your community and you have a master's in nursing, you're going to meet with people on different levels and different cultures, and they're going to expect you to speak the language of the land. And you speak the language of your particular area, you know. And I said, so, and some people see that as ignorance, you know. So that's one of the reasons why, you know, I was always taking up another language. You know, I want to learn Spanish. I want to learn French. I want to learn this. Not to say that the language I speak is not good enough, but just so I can be a better communicator. You know, so I don't think people should just, and even allow younger people, because I used to talk to young people a lot about their language and the difference between street language, professional language. You know, I said you have to be able to speak so people can understand what you're saying. You know, so I say all that to say I agree with you, Carol.
Yes, thank you.
Well, these days they call that code switching, where you're able to speak what is considered proper English when you're around those that you need to speak proper English with. And then you're able to switch to the AAVE, the African American vernacular, when you're in that environment. So now it's code switching, because I used to get the same thing on the phones when I worked on the phones, and they just assumed I was white, and I didn't understand that, and so I made it fun. I made it funny. I said, oh, well, this is my Holly voice. When I go to work, I'm going to sound like Holly. And so I gave her her own personality while I worked on the phone. Because I'm not going to allow you to define me. I'm going to define me. So if I want to make fun of it, I make it funny. And so now, and I try to tell the Gen Zers and millennials and whatever they call themselves now, I try to tell those generations the importance of proper English. And it's not to say that you are not speaking proper English even when you are using AAVE, because now that is they have now considered that an actual vernacular English, a part of American English. But it's just when to use it and when not to use it. And like I was saying earlier, like you use it around certain people and they pick up on it because they appreciate the culture. But then you can use it around certain people and they just appropriate it for their use only or for their benefit. So code switching is major, especially a lot with us Gen Xers. We like to code switch a lot. And we never had a term for it. It was just what you did. Like you taught, this is how you speak here, this is how you speak there. And even when my mom first moved to Louisiana from Michigan, she came down to southern Louisiana. And it's a completely different conversation in different parts of Louisiana and different parts of the South. I was speaking with Ayana about it earlier. What we consider AAVE or Ebonics here may not even be the same term that you guys use up there.
Right.
Like different according to your place, your whatever is culturally accepted in your area. So it changes. So when she came to South Louisiana and they told her, come in and get down. And come in and dance? You want me to dance? And they were like, no, just come in and get down and let's just talk, And, she would tell me stories about how she had to learn, what that meant. And this wasn't coming from our culture. This was actually coming from just people in South Louisiana, just in that area of the bayous. That's how we talk. And it's come on and get down. Or you ask a question, you going to the store? Yes. You always put yes behind whatever you're saying, like you're answering your own question. And I have one of my best friends lives in New Jersey, and he clowns me about that on the regular. And it's so innate in me that I do it without thinking about it. But if I'm around a certain culture or a certain type of people, a certain group of individuals, I don't do that. So it's always
and that's the difference. The knowing the difference,
Yeah, because I was taught that. My grandmother drilled it in my mother drilled it in me. This is how you talk. This is what you say. This is how you conduct yourself. This is how you present yourself. Always present yourself as an educated lady. All those things have been taught to me. But at the same time, what's up, cuz? And things of that nature when I'm around family and friends. It's just a good code switching. Code switching has become very interesting when you slip up sometimes and say the wrong thing to the wrong person.
The wrong person.
No.
If I can just interject, because I was out of the workforce for a minute, and upon my return, over the last several months, 4 or 5 months, I cannot believe the use of profanity at my job. I cannot believe. And I have come to the realization with the younger, like the 20s and 30s, but all ages, but particularly with the 20s and 30s, they use profanity as their common language. Like in my day, if you said the F word, it was because you were mad. You know, you were upset about something. You know, now it's, you know, everything is F this and F that. It's amazing to me how I like some days I really can't take it. I just have to get away from them. And we had to go to a training that was upstate, and I was so glad that my schedule didn't allow me to choose the same dates that the young women in my office were choosing, because I didn't want to be anywhere with them. I find that quite dishonoring. I just didn't want to be in their presence, you know, outside of the office. Like I didn't know how they were going to carry themselves, and like that's just so unacceptable to me. And I said something to the supervisor, and so she gave the unit, and she said, okay, let's have a challenge that we're going to not use profanity. And you know, that lasted for a day. And then back to their usual thing. It's just how they speak. It's just how they speak.
Those types of things like that, I always tend to think it's about the environment, the people that are in charge, whether or not they allow it. You know, some people don't want to stand up and say this type of behavior is not considered to be professional and it will not be allowed and here. And because of that, then you have to deal with that. And it rubs me wrong when I have to sit there and hear that all around me and people don't know how to talk. You know, and I do understand when people get upset, you always give, to me, I always give that leeway. When you upset, I understand. But not if that's how you talk all day long. It gets to be annoying that you can't really have a conversation without using profanity. And I do say it, you know, and I see other people in my family, they'll be so upset, especially after your children get quote unquote grown and they feel like they can say whatever. I'm like, well, you really have to let them know that, yeah, you're still a parent. You know, you're not a friend.
Right.
You're still, they still have to show that respect, that level of respect. You know, you can't keep them hostage and say, oh, even when you upset, I don't expect it to be any different, because in all actuality, it may be different. But if they practice in your presence of, you know, giving you that respect because it bothers you, then they will tone down and they'll tend not to say those things and do those things as much because somebody that they care about is being offended by it, and they're going to consciously make that effort to change it. And it does make a difference. Because I've seen it happen all around me, but you have to say something. You have to say something, but you have to say it the right way.
I'm gonna. This is Adrian again. I'm gonna say this. That the first time this happened, I was so offended. But later on, I laughed at myself, like, why are you so offended? Because I was around. You know, I usually work with the youth at the church, and we were outside of the church, and they were talking, in slang, and they were saying MF, and somebody said MF. And one of the older kids said, don't talk like that. You see Sister Cantine is here? And I said, what I got to do with it? You know, we got to respect our elders. I'm only 55 years old. I'm not an elder. You know, but to them, I was. You know, I said, when did I become an elder? You know, but I appreciate the fact that he corrected the child, you know, with his peer on speaking like that around me. You know, but not because I'm an elder, because I don't cuss and I don't speak and I don't talk like that to anybody else. But he said, you know, you don't talk like that around elders. Like, somebody taught you right, but hey, wait, I'm not an elder, but that's funny to me. That every time I think about that, I laugh.
Yes, you are an elder.
I am now. I'm getting ready to move into a senior apartment. I'm claiming it.
Man.
Oh my God.
I love it.
Am I okay to add to the conversation?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to overstep. I just wanted to know, could I add to this conversation, or is this just like the ladies' night? I don't know.
Oh, you can add. Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, cause, I don't know the schedule of the shows or whatever, but no, I'm just sitting here listening, and I wanted to say something that I had an interesting conversation with somebody a couple of days ago. We were kind of talking about what you're speaking about now, and I've been putting together my community dynamic for change. Okay, that ain't the name of it, but that's it. And I've been studying a lot of the concerns and a lot of the things that we call problems, because a lot of stuff has changed. A lot of us who have been here for a minute, we've seen it, and we know it's changed. But the thing is, what I'm getting out of this conversation, what I'm getting out from a lot of different people with their opinions and what they believe and what they've experienced, is that it went from something that was decent to something that is just like, like bottom of the barrel. It's so bad that people are just embarrassed by people, especially the behavior you see now, how people are just so reckless and loose, and they ain't got no filter, they ain't got no chill whatsoever. But what I was explaining to somebody in my researches and what makes sense to me is this goes all the way back in our history to when our society of our people was set up different from every other society. And because we had a different type of etiquette and a different type of education, where our women were in their matriarch system, but that matriarch system was covered under an umbrella, so it was protected and it was guarded, and all of its secrets were kept sacred, because the women in our community were coveted all over the world at one time. They could go anywhere in the world, be invited there, get carte blanche anywhere, because of the way that they were, the ways that were instilled in them and how they carried themselves. And when those secrets were not given out to other, kingdoms or, whatever you want to call it, societies, whatever. That's when the attack came, because to them, to all the other societies who were interested, it was a mystery to them. They couldn't figure out what was it about our people that, elevated us to a level of greatness and excellence that other people just looked at and how'd you do that? But our secrets were never given out. So what ended up happening was, very slowly and meticulously, they began to break our society down, not from the outside, but from the inside. And now what we got right now is we got a shell of what we were. The fractions split it up.
because they divided us and that's how they conquered us. So they've never got our system of ways. That is still like a real secret. But you see how all other cultures and societies, they like to follow us. They like to be like us. You know, we excel in everything that we do because it's in us. But the thing that we've related our excellence to is what's been lost. We can't relate this power that we have and these abilities that we have to anything. So we know that we got something, but we just don't know what to like look at it as, or make it relative to something that we can say, oh, it came from here. This is the way. This is what we were taught to do. This is how we were taught and grown. We don't have anything to like put on the board and say, okay, we can relate it to this, because all of that is not talked about anymore. So let me just get off the soapbox. I'm sorry, but that was a conversation I was having with somebody. But let's just say I and some other interested people are working on an initiative. So maybe we might be able to see that in the future for our following generation. Hopefully. All right, I'm off the soapbox. I'm done. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anytime, sir. Anytime. Does anyone else have any questions? And I will follow up. And just so that people know who came in later, my question was initially, is it cultural appropriation with the use of AAVE, which is African American Vernacular English? Some of you may know it as Ebonics, but the name has changed for whatever reason. And so my follow-up question to that, if we ever got to it, was, are you offended if someone outside of your culture uses cultural references and cultural lingo? Are you offended if they just use it in their everyday language when they are around you?
I guess I would have to say there are times when I think it's offensive, and there's times where I guess I guess it's more so who you're around when the language is used. Like if you're with people who are, we'll say, at your same level of status is one thing, but then if you continue to use it when you're with people who have, who are your, I'll say, superiors, for lack of a better word, in the workplace, then I think that, you've got to be able to turn it off.
Yeah, I can say for myself that most of the time, I can tell when it's forced. It's the language, the slang is forced into a conversation because you're having a conversation with me, and that's when I code switch back to my proper English, so they understand that that's not how I speak on the regular. So you don't have to speak to me in that manner. And I do get offended. I'm a big social media person, so I'm always TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, Twitter, whatever. And it has become more and more popular for other cultures, like I said earlier, adapting. And sometimes you can tell when it's genuine and, again, when it's forced. So I get offended when it's forced. And I don't follow those people because you are using a language that you think will attract your target audience for whatever you're selling, or for the views, or for the the products or the views or, you know, your own posts, your likes and all of that stuff, you're doing that for a reason. You know, and then once you reach that point, then it's it's not serving your purpose anymore. And then you can go back and then start talking about and being offensive to the same people that you were just appropriating their language and including them in your culture.
Right.
Okay, I think maybe I misunderstood, but yes, I'm with you all the way. When I'll say the other culture is using the language like they're trying to be hip, I'll say. Yeah, and then, but then they put down people who are using the language because that's the language that they use. Yeah, I have issue with that. I have a great issue with that. And, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know, they have some people, and like, again, I'm on social media, and there was a lady that had a huge following because she was appropriating our language, our way of dressing, our way of dancing. Everything about her was of our culture. And she used the excuse that, well, I grew up around your culture, and my stepdad is the black man. And so this is just how I am. And then she gained this huge following. I mean, black people would defend her, oh, that's just so-and-so being so-and-so. And once she got to where she wanted to be and having us as her followers or what have you no longer suited her agenda, now she has completely switched things around, and she talks very conservatively now. And she has biracial sisters, biracial brother, and biracial children. But now it's a problem.
But she can't return them now.
No. She can't, but now it's a huge problem. And so now that's one of the big things on TikTok actually is, how she has done a complete 180. Complete 180.
Wow.
And it was all so she could build likes and so she could, be a quote unquote content creator and get money and stuff like that. And now she's good. She don't need us anymore. So now it's just, forget y'all. She doesn't speak to her parents anymore. I'm not sure if her children, it's a daughter. I'm not sure if her daughter still lives with her or not. But she no longer speaks to her mother, her father, her stepfather, her siblings that are half siblings that are. She don't speak to any of them anymore. So that's the part that offends me. When you use
and she's not losing popularity?
Oh, yes, drastically. Because everybody is calling her out on it. Like, literally, every time I look at TikTok, somebody is talking about her. And she lives right here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And everybody is talking about her at this point. But, I mean, that's the part that offends me. We were there for you. Not me personally, because I don't give nobody my money. But they were sending her money. They were, because she was having some issues, and they were feeling bad for her, and they were praying for her and everything, and hoping her children got everything, and defended her to her culture. And then once she got what she needed, then she turned her back. That's when I have a problem.
So I can act a certain way to gain a certain following until I get what I want. And then now I'm out of here. I don't even know y'all no more.
Exactly.
It's like situation with OJ when he needed us. All of a sudden, like one of the comedians said, he was a part of the black community. OJ haven't been a part of the black community in years, but now everybody's gathering to defend him and helping him pay for his defense and all this stuff, you know. And it is sad that people can flip-flop like that. And when I need you, like they said, for some reason, we reach out. If somebody needs us, no matter how the history is, if somebody needs us, the black community come to their aid. And then look what happened. This is the second time that I'm hearing about somebody, once they have got what they want, okay, I don't need you no more.
We help them, and they help themselves to kicking us in our behind.
Right.
And they're going to do it again. That's just in our nature to be, helpful.
Right. Help each other.
Right, because that's what we're used to in our culture is helping each other. So we will go out and help you. If I have it, you got it, be good. But at the same time, we just have to, as a culture, learn more discernment of who to help and who not to help. Because some people are very genuine.
I was thinking, yep.
But you just have to have the discernment of who to help and who not to help. I don't help nobody ask for my money. I'll pray for you, but I'm not giving you my money.
Yeah, somebody. I made it. I was talking to somebody, and they was talking about, I like to go help. I like to help people any way I can. If I have something extra, I share. But they said, if you go on PayPal, what is it? Is it PayPal that you go on and ask for money?
GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. Find a GoFundMe. And I said people can write anything they want in a GoFundMe account. I'm not going to fall for the okie doke like that. If I know someone personally, or I know someone who knows someone, and say so and so is in need and I can help, I'll reach out and help in any way I can, whether it's financially or whether it's giving them somebody to talk to or anything. But I will not go on a nebulous account and just pick somebody who has a sob story. Because, see, I can write. So I can write a sob story, I can have tears flowing through your eyes, and I'm laughing the whole time. I just don't like that. I like that these things came up as a way of people reaching out for help, but I try not to fall for, because it's just another way of people to scam.
Right. Correct. Okay. Is there anybody else that has any comments or questions or further discussion?
I'm like Marcus. I like to hear something from some men.
I didn't want to call them out, but
I'll do it for you.
Okay.
You ain't got to call us out. We've been participating. Well, a couple of us have anyway.
Yeah.
But I was listening to you talk about the slang and stuff. And my mother, when we were growing up, they had a social club. But then there was a group of ladies, and they just ruined the English language at one time. But it was just amongst them. And they had this term, and we hear it a lot today. I be styling, man. They used to say, we bees doing it. They put an S on the B-E-S. But they would just talk amongst themselves like that. And that was almost a code word between those group of ladies. But it was big. That was during segregation. They did not intermingle with white people at all. It was just, you went to work, you went to church, you went to your club. It was all in our neighborhood. And as we grew up, we kind of kept our slang to ourselves. And then once, the white kids would hear us talking like that, they tried to, like I say, come at you with the way we talked, and we knew that it wasn't natural for them. We didn't really get offended, but we just kind of looked at them crazy and like, oh, they cool. They think, no, they cool, Oh, they cool, and we would think, okay, yeah, they cool. But it was really a fake thing for them. And then as more I think about it, they could have been on the side making fun of us. Because who talks like that? And, we just, and even today you can almost tell when somebody is fake, especially if you have a Caucasian girl that has maybe a black boyfriend or has been around a few blacks, like you say, your girl that did what she did and turned her back on everybody. And they come up to you with this fake talking like a black person. And like I said, we know it shouldn't be like that because we all should just speak, the way the language is written. Because we had friends that grew up in California, and they would come to Texas, West Texas, and visit us. And my mother was like, y'all talking all flat, and look how these kids, they talking proper. And that's what we said, man, why they talk so proper? They go, that's just the dialect they grew up with in California. And I'm familiar with what you said, South Louisiana speak. When I came from Texas as an 18-year-old and went to college in Lake Charles, and, I'm like you, they like, hey, we're going to get down. And that's why you getting out of the car, get down. I'm thinking like you, what we finna do, dance? And, it said we're going to the store and make groceries. How you make groceries? We're going to buy groceries. And like I said, hey, you going to the store, we going out tonight? Yeah. That was always a yeah or a no at the end of the sentence in a question form. And like I said, that's a Southwest Louisiana thing. And as you get further southeast, it gets a lot worse because you have people that speak what is known as Cajun French or Creole French. I have relatives right now. I go visit them. Say what? But I can't understand a word they're saying because they can speak English and they can speak that Louisiana dialect of French. It is something else.
That's how I was when I first came. I went to South Carolina, and my mother's relatives, they call them Geechees. And my mother laughed because I said, when we going back to visit our cousins, the ones that speak West Indian, my mother fell out laughing. They're speaking English. They're like, oh, I don't know their language. I can't understand what they're saying. But I like what they cook.
My great-grandfather was a Gullah Geechee. And he was a hard guy to understand. We got a friend now that he's from Charleston, South Carolina. He can say some words that are not ordinary. And that's just, I grew up I got all sorts of mixtures in my family on my dad and mom's side of southeast Louisiana, and then originally the Charleston people, and it's kind of crazy. But you just adopt, you learn, and you go on.
Yes.
Okay, before I turn it back over to Mr. Smith and Mr. Gardner to wrap up for the evening, I would like to wish Mr. Hamp Smith a happy birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday
today. Happy birthday, Hamp. I didn't know you shared a birthday with one of my nieces.
Hey, Hamp.
Yes. Thank you all.
So how old are you? You're 25 today?
26 2/4.
26.
So I was off.
Put it like this: they won't let me in the game for free because I'm not a senior citizen by their measurements. but I am a senior citizen.
Mhm.
I've been had my AARP for quite some time.
I was
You don't
excited.
have to be 55 to get that. No, 50.
50.
I think it's 50.
Yeah, I was excited to get
Yeah.
mine.
I think it's 55.
Yeah. Where's Dr. James?
Yeah,
tonight?
you
Dr.
you can
James
get it at
on
50.
tonight?
You don't have to be a senior to get your AARP.
No. They start sending you the paperwork about 6 months before you turn 50.
Yeah, I never renew my membership. I need to renew it because there are some good benefits with being an AARP member.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the membership, yearly membership is pretty cheap.
Yeah, it is.
$16.
Yeah.
If you hold out, you get that offer for 12.
That 12,
Yeah.
that's what I do all the time. Wait for the $12. I got a card in the envelope now. All I got to do is turn it back in and renew.
Mm-hmm.
It might be for 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everyone. I want to thank everyone on my end for participating and for learning a little bit more. You know, a lot of us didn't know what AAVE was, and that's why I brought it to the forefront. Kind of, you hear it from somebody else, hear from your grandkids, and you don't know what you're talking about. At least now we have a little idea of what that is. And I want to thank you for your comments and all of your sharing. Thank you.
Thank you for the topic. Good topic.
Adrian wanted to say happy birthday.
I did say happy birthday.
And I'm
Saying it was enough. Saying it was enough. No one has to sing it.
Here we go, Adrian. Adrian, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Adrian.
All right.
Okay, I'll accept that. That was I couldn't sing like that.
We even culturally appropriated our own version of Happy Birthday.
Yep.
Now, just
all right, guys.
I have one question before we go. The young lady who was speaking, what's your name?
I'm Angela.
Young lady.
Huh?
My name is Angela.
Angela. No.
Oh, speaking Angela, right?
All right. Thank you, Angela.
Hey, is Miss Carol still on the line?
Yes. This is she.
Okay. Hey, this is Everett. I received the group text and I try to forward them to Hamp, but I was gonna see if Hamp and Angela, whoever wanted to get, if you would, if they could give you their number, they could be added to the group text that comes out. That comes out. I get it from Ivadne, I get it from you, E. Malik, but once or twice a week I get a group text. But I said I could easily forward it to Hamp and Angela. I don't know if I have Angela's number. I think I do. I know I do because you sent me your dues the other day. Angela sent her dues the other day. You know, she and I.
That's a hint.
That's a hint, yeah.
You collecting dues? What you collecting dues for?
Do what? we have dues for our we have membership dues for the CCC. We're an organization, and to keep doing what we do, we have to collect monthly dues on a quarterly basis. In addition to the fundraisers that we do. So,
okay.
All right.
Because everything that we do in the community is done with no charge.
Yeah.
All right, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So with that being said, we're going to do what we do every Wednesday night. Let each of you that has a show on the Grown Folks Talking Network, like I said, I introduced 2 people to that. If they dial in tonight, I don't know, because I'm not on the computer. I played so much golf today, I am in the prone position on my back, listening and recording this on the phone. But, yeah, go ahead and promote yourselves. And I've passed the word around to a lot of different people. Say, hey, if you go call this number, you get a lineup, and it tells the different shows, and you'll get a lot of information because there are like 19 different programs that you can listen to. But until, like I said, once I get those texts, I will forward them, make sure I forward one to each one of you, because our membership is small, and then I think I could do that. And y'all will get all the information that I get. There's websites and links to YouTube that you can go on and check everything out. So I will share that in the future. And I think I was just at one time forwarded to Hamp, but I was sent to
Angela.
Yeah, Angela. I don't know why your name is so easy, and I don't know why I can't. I'm just terrible with names. But Angela, Andre, Hamp, and what's the other? Ayana, you with us too? What's the other lady's name? That we,
yes.
And
it is. That's correct.
And Jackie.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, 2 of those numbers I don't have, but I do have Angela, Andre, and Hamp. But if I share with one, y'all can share with everyone else, and we'll go from there.
I'll actually send you the database, Mr. Everett. I'll send you the database that I created with everybody so far, so you could have
I had that one time with Karen that sent me a list. I haven't spoken with her in a while.
No. I mean CCC members. I'll send you the database for the CCC members.
Oh, okay, yeah. Thank you, Angela. I'm just listening to different voices. Okay, bet. If I get that, then we can. I think I may have a copy, but if you have an updated, that would be perfect.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
And while we have everybody on the line, does somebody know how do we get to the YouTube page?
Just put Grown Folk Talking, no G, Express Yourself in your search bar. I mean, go to YouTube and then put that in the search bar, and it'll come up.
Okay. And I asked because we also put out a pamphlet with this information and stuff on there. So if people want to view some of the shows, then they have a link to view the shows, so they'll know some of what the network is all about, and the CCC as well.
Mm-hmm. And did you put an intro video to put on your YouTube?
Well, now that we know how to get on YouTube with the growth, we have to do that. We've been planning it, but I got a guy that can do it. I just have to get Hamp, him and I in the same room at one time to knock it out, because he does great social media stuff at his with his job, and he has a business as well. So when I see him at meeting tomorrow, I'm going to set up a day so he can do the short video for us, and we will be able to upload that. Mm-hmm. And I have the other guy's name, George, but I think if we get it done, I think I know how to get it uploaded on there.
Okay. Because you can also you can do it on the Huddle.
Okay.
Video and do it on the Huddle too.
Okay.
If I may add, good evening. If I may add, the easiest way to get to the Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself, like if you're going to put it in print, you can put youtube.com/the Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself, no spaces. So if you're going to put it in print in your brochure, then you can put that just like that, youtube.com/@ Grown Folk Talking, Express Yourself. No.
I hope some of y'all are writing this down because I'm not don't have anything to write with or write on. But I think I can remember that. I'm pretty internet savvy. I'll play with it and figure it out.
Yeah, when you go to the page, just look up and once you get on the page, look at the search bar and it's going to say just that. You know what I mean?
All right.
Oh, the Concerned Citizens Coalition is up on the YouTube already.
You say it is?
It is. Not
he said it is.
Yes, the August 30th version is there.
Your shows, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go to that and play around with that, and that way we can get a little more involved and go from there.
Welcome back. I'm sorry. That's just me.
I tried to get a young lady to listen to the domestic violence thing, but she was about to get off. She's working behind the bar at the clubhouse where we play golf at, and she mentioned that she has a bachelor's in criminal justice, but she's getting a master's in social work or whatever, and with an emphasis on the domestic violence stuff. But she wasn't able to tune in, but she always asks me about the podcast every week. But this would have been a good one for her to tune into, but she was a little bit busy where she couldn't really participate on that one that came on just before we came on from 6 to 8 Eastern Time.
So sometimes
all right, ladies.
If people are working or something like that, they can put an earplug on and just listen.
Oh, yeah, but she couldn't do it because she's a bartender.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't a big crowd there, but it was enough going on where I just kind of, put a bug in there, but she got a couple more weeks, and I'm going to definitely leave her the number. She's getting ready to move to Georgia, but I want to make sure that she has the info so she can kind of tune in and maybe give up some input once she gets to a new place and starts her new venture.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
The word is spreading. Definitely, I'm ambassador for this network and let them know what's going on, and that's how we do word of mouth. And like I said, with the YouTube, I can definitely get that shared because a lot of people want to know how can I join and talking it. So it's out there, and we appreciate everybody. And like I said, I'm grateful to be a part of this family and the network. And it's doing great things. All right.
Okay.
We are gone a little bit over our time. Just lucky that no one else is coming on after us. But with that being said, appreciate everyone and want to wish everyone a pleasant rest of the evening and a great rest of the week. Stay blessed.
Thank you. Good
night.
Good show, Angela.
Yeah, great job, Angela. Great job.
And Carol, you want to remind everybody about the 7 a.m.?
Oh, the prayer line.
7 a.m. Have a prayer call.
That's 6 o'clock. Yeah, that's 6 o'clock for us, so that's early. I'm up that early, so.
That's all right. God gets up then too.
Yeah, he always up. Yeah, I'm up.
Yeah, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Most weekdays is a half hour, and then on the weekends we go a little bit longer.
Okay.
And I'm Friday, 6 p.m., 5 p.m. for you all, I guess. Can we talk with Adrian every Friday at 6 p.m. our time?
And I am the Pink Sofa Talk, Tuesdays at 7:30. This coming week, men will be invited. First and third weeks of the month, it's ladies only. But men are invited the second and fourth weeks. Can we, I was about to say, can we talk? Pink Sofa Talk, Tuesdays at 7:30.
And this is Deborah from Positive Impact Sundays from 7 to about 8:45. And the men are always welcome to come with and be involved in our segment every Sunday with the ladies.
And I am Yvonne with Yvonne with Company, Talk Worth Listening To, and I am Mondays at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we talk about many different things involving life and health and relationships. So come on, 4 p.m. Thank you.
All right. Like I say, I get those group texts, and I'm going to forward those. And let's continue to be a great family, fellowshipping and networking. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been nice. Y'all have a great evening. Appreciate everyone.
You also.
And,
All right.
And we'll be tuning in because y'all tune in to us. And so we will be listening at you, and hope you'll come back and listen to us next Wednesday night. 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern Time. This is the fabulous B.B. Brown, also known as Everett Gardner. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
I remember that.